anti-aging goes much wider than the geriatric medicine. The biggest differentiation what we have to make is the difference between the geriatric medicine and anti-aging. Because as soon as we start talking about anti-aging, geriatric automatically comes in. We are talking about dementia, we are talking about osteoporosis, we are talking about hypertension, CVD, whatever. These all are already included in geriatric medicine. The only difference is geriatric medicine is talking about 65 plus age group. Whatever the national policies, international policies are being built up, they are being built up only 65 plus population people. Whatever statistics we have, when we talk about aging, when we talk about number of aging people, what stats we have actually? When we talk about Southeast Asia is having almost about 12.5% of the population as aging population. What does it mean? It's a big number. Look at the prospects for us, for all the anti-aging physicians. Southeast Asia is having almost about 12.5% aging population. What does it mean? What does this 12.5% really have? It's only 65 plus age group. But if I ask you a simple question, as an anti-aging physician, are we handling 65 plus age group? We really don't want to handle them. I don't want to handle them. I don't want to handle 65 plus age group. Let me tell you very honestly. There's a big class of people, big class of doctors, so called as geriatric physicians, who are handling them. So what I say is, geriatric medicine should not start at 65 plus. It should start at 30 plus. Now you think, if the geriatric medicine start or anti-aging medicine start at 30 plus, what would be the percentage of the Southeast Asian population above 30 years of age? How much percentage? Almost about 78%. 78% of the Southeast Asian population is above 30 years of age, and where R1 starts. Before that, before 18 years of age, pediatrician taking care of. 18 to 30, individual is taking care of himself. 30 plus, we are taking care of them. Look at the prospect. Huge prospect. I am telling you, this anti-aging is going to be the biggest field in coming years. Truly biggest field. The only problem is we have to define it. We have to define it very, very properly, like the way pediatrics is defined. Think about the scenario, the statistics. I am talking now a bit commercial angle of it. 30 years back, 40 years back, the population, the pediatric population was in the Southeast Asia. I am talking Southeast Asia because we all are Southeast Asians. I am not talking about world at all. The pediatric population was almost about 18%, and the geriatric, so-called geriatric population 65 plus was less than 5%, because people never used to live till that long, they used to die before that. Now with this longevity medicine, with the advancement in medicine, there is a huge shift. Now the pediatric population is becoming 5%, and geriatric 65 plus is already 12.5%, and 30 plus population is 78%. Think the shift is happening. So it's better if we define ourselves very, very well. Second, it's better we stop overclaiming. Third is we start coming up with the literature, we start coming up with the data, we start talking to the physicians who don't understand anti-aging. We start talking to them, not to fight with them. The acceptance of any field will happen only if we have a debate, we have a talk. And I can assure you, I am so confident about it. In next coming years, anti-aging medicine will be a proper degree program, post-doctoral program, and people will be, today we are writing anti-aging physicians, but later on it will be certified. So we are on a very, very right track. The only thing is definition. Second thing is, don't overclaim. Let's stop overclaiming. Third is, don't demoralize or don't demean the other fraternity doctors. If they don't believe in your anti-aging, let it be. They are respected. Respect them. We keep on performing, they are going to follow. Simple.